Next, we have the next gen Xbox. Xbox President Sarah Bond announced in a YouTube video titled Xbox plus AMD powering the next generation of Xbox that they've established a strategic multi-year arrangement with AMD to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including their next generation Xbox consoles. Bond says that this is all about building you a gaming platform that's always with you, delivering you an Xbox experience not locked to a single store or tied to one device. That's why we're working closely with the Windows team to ensure that Windows is the number one platform for gaming. We've said it before, but to people obsessed with the console wars, this sounds like Xbox is giving up. But to anyone with a brain, it's clear that they are doing the complete opposite. Instead of
Right.
continuing to compete in a space where they've been on the back foot for years, Xbox is expanding their portfolio to a market that PlayStation and Nintendo just doesn't interact with very often. PC.
Yeah.
The PC market has grown exponentially over the years, and even though consoles are still the easiest way to play games and the most accessible way, due to the internet, PC gaming has become way more accessible and less daunting and confusing. And
Right.
I think that we're going to get exactly what what I and I'm sure many others have predicted, which is an Xbox PC, built by Xbox, Microsoft, and AMD, that is more customizable than a traditional Xbox, but also not nearly as customizable as a traditional PC to avoid, the confusion of all those, parts.
Right.
And basically make, having a PC and upgrading a PC more accessible to the average person and to get the average person into the PC ecosystem and into the Xbox ecosystem. And, I think that this device would only be a gaming device. It would not be a PC that can do other PC stuff. And that it would include the Steam and Epic Game Store. And yeah, something that bridges, the console and PC market gap, like you said. And also, the more consoles that Xbox's games are on, the more money. And the more money the game industry makes, the better for the world, or the better for the games industry, based in, the very capitalistic world that we live in. So ultimately, this is all a good thing. If it goes well, which I think it will.
I hope it will.
Like, yeah, what are your thoughts on Xbox's kind of like what it seems like their plan is?
I'm glad that they've not necessarily given up the ghost, but I'm glad they've realized like where they're at in the race right now, and they're like, let's regroup, let's refocus, let's try and hit a market that nobody else is hitting rather than trying to compete with the two big dogs. Like, I think that's better for them overall, and honestly, I would be interested in like a kind of hybrid PC console sort of thing that, like, isn't quite, is more accessible than like PC gaming, but is as easy as gaming on a console. Like, that's really interesting to me, and I would totally like put my money into that. You
Yeah,
know?
like if that's the next generation of Xbox, and it can like play on my Xbox disc, that's absolutely the next Xbox I would get, and then I would sell my Xbox Series X and get that, and that would be my main Xbox, and I would
Right.
I would upgrade it and buy the next whatever I need to upgrade it over the years, and that would transition me as a person who my PC content is on a laptop. That's where I'm playing Hades 2 early
Right.
access. And other games that are getting like demos on Steam and TC and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, if I could play my Steam demos on my TV, that would be
Mm-hmm.
great.
That'd be a banger.
That would be great. Um, yeah, and like I said, I imagine this would have Steam and Epic. Epic, I'm not 100% certain because it doesn't seem like the Epic's game store is going to be on the ROG Xbox Ally, but
Mm-hmm.
but Steam is. So it seems like there might be something about Epic not wanting to be part of the Xbox ecosystem in that way. But that's
Mm-hmm.
not 100% confirmed, so we'll have to wait and see. But just
Right.
having the Xbox, app and UI and Steam is enough for me because I don't use
Yeah.
I already don't use the Epic Game Store, and I think that if I had to guess, I think more people probably use Steam than the Epic Game Store.
Oh, for sure. The
So
only reason like I use the Epic Game Store is because it has free games sometimes,
mm,
not very often, and not often games that I'm interested in, but like free games you can keep. So I'll do it for that, but like not as my primary choice
but
for
yeah,
online games. That's Steam all day long.
when you do sit down and think about it and realize, oh yeah, PlayStation and Nintendo, like PlayStation more so than Nintendo, of course, because some of their games are on Steam now. Um, but like Nintendo doesn't put their games on PC, and like
Right.
it takes years before PlayStation puts their games on PC. So it's like, yeah, Xbox has room to get into the PC market and kind of dominate there
Mhm.
because Nintendo and
And then
PlayStation don't care about that.
right, and then they also have like more of an opportunity to get out all the growing pains before it starts becoming like a real competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I think that was Xbox's problem like before. Like they'd see that PlayStation or Nintendo was doing a new thing and they're like, we want to do that thing too, but because like Nintendo and PlayStation were like more established in that thing, they had time to get rid of all the growing pains. Xbox would jump in. It wouldn't really work out for them because again, they don't account for said growing pains. But and given that the market is so competitive, like you're not going to go for like a console that's still trying to work out all those kinks rather than two that are like established and they know kind of I guess know what they're doing. So I don't know, but it gives them a lot of opportunity to get back on their feet. Thanks.
Yeah, they also recognize that they wouldn't catch up by making a bunch of exclusive games and trying to force people to get an Xbox to play those games. Especially
Right.
since they bought studios that were making games for everything, and if they suddenly started making those games exclusive to Xbox, that would just cause anger and frustration.
Yeah.
So they're continuing
Exactly.
to have all those games released everywhere. Like Doom came out, it's still everywhere. Like Doom is on PlayStation, it's on
Hmm.
PC. It's probably going to be on the Switch eventually because Doom Eternal is on the Switch.
Right.
And they're going to continue to release all of their games everywhere. Like now, Gears of War's everywhere. It's only a matter of time before Halo's everywhere. And all these
Right.
Xbox exclusive games that we associate with heavily with Xbox, like the next Halo game that they're working on currently, is probably going to be everywhere. So
Hmm.
this is just a smart move on their part. They're making more money in that way. They can transition from a traditional console to something that's more like a PC. And yeah,
Yeah.
they can just make this transition into doing something similar to what Nintendo did, where Nintendo is just in a market that PlayStation, Xbox aren't in yet. Of course, they're slowly starting to make their way into it again. PlayStation used to be there,
Right.
then they gave up on it with the Vita, even though they shouldn't have. If they kept
Mhm.
pushing it, they would probably be exactly where
It
Nintendo
would
is right
be
now.
popular.
Um,
Yeah, because now everybody wants a Vita because they're like, oh, the nostalgia of it all. Like everyone wants a Vita now, from what I've seen. So it's like, PlayStation, bring it back. It'll be
and
successful this time
if
for sure.
Xbox is still making their own handheld, and the ROG Ally isn't just the only one that they're making, and then that will also be a big major step in that. And supposedly PlayStation is also working on a
Yeah,
handheld too, so we'll see.